Hi and welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean.
Chris.
Lee.
We worked out what order we're in now.
I think it was just that's kind of the way it works, isn't it?
No one else spoke, so I did.
That's always a good way of doing it during
Yes.
podcasts. Radio silence.
You treat it like a roundabout with too many cars.
Yes.
So, a couple of weeks since the last show. Sorry for being ill. But how are we all doing tonight?
Okay.
Good.
Reasonable.
Good.
Good to reasonable. Yeah, I think we can go with that. I think we've actually even got some F1 sort of news,
Which we wouldn't have
stuff.
had last week. So
That is true. The bugger all happened up to last Monday.
So it was probably a good idea that we did do a 2-week break. And should we get it out of the way now? We're going to do another 2-week break.
I think that's probably best to say it now. Yeah, we'll do another show in 2 weeks because
Most of us aren't here next week.
Yes.
yeah, and there's not going to be a lot coming out of the teams because everyone's gearing up for the launches, which are all happening in
Starting next Monday.
So prepare for news on Sunday that Nico Rosberg is to make his return.
Go and sub to Must See Audio to fill the gap. That's a good idea.
There you go.
more plugs than curries.
Oh yeah.
Right, we will make a start now. Aston Racing Martin point Force Stroll
India.
Benetton.
Point.
Jordan Spiker.
Midland.
I think we've covered them all now, haven't we?
The Silverstone team.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go for yours.
The team based at Silverstone, formerly known as all of those, are now to be known as Aston Martin from 2021.
Yes, because they can't be from this season because Aston Martin have still got the title sponsorship for Red Bull for the upcoming season.
Yeah. Which means that BWT are probably going to vanish off.
Well, they were never title sponsors; they were only livery sponsors, so they might hang on in some form or another.
Which would be weird.
I think if you're an Aston Martin team, it's going to be green, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, it kind of has to be. Maybe
British Racing
BWT
green?
take their money elsewhere on the grid, or the teams I'm sure would accept.
And they usually BWT I'm talking about here. BWT usually sponsor Mercedes liveried cars in other forms of motorsport as well, don't they?
Yeah.
DTM.
Yes.
There were pink Mercedes in that with BWT sponsorship splashed all over them.
Although they've
there
got a few
was-
counts in the Porsche Super Cup.
I was just about to say the Porsche.
Oh, have they?
Supercup. They
Porsche
do a
Supercup.
lot in.
I stopped watching that in like 2012.
It is useless, isn't
Yeah.
it? They do a lot of sponsorship as well in skiing and
Lower
alpine
formula.
sports. And
Lower formulas as well. I've noticed that some drivers in GP3 and GP3 F3 as it is now, pink with a little bit of BWT sponsor every now and again.
Yeah, Arden,
So-
I think, have been the last couple of years in F2 as well.
Oh, yeah,
because
'cause
they've disappeared now.
Yeah, they were Force Ardendia.
Yes.
Yeah. So as you said, if it's got to be Aston Martin, it's kind of got to be green, hasn't it?
It's the
Really?
rule.
Because we thought that Red Bull might go green when they were Aston Martin as a title sponsor, but it never happened.
I'm hoping we get something that looks maybe a little bit like the old Jaguar.
It would be
That'd
good.
be nice.
Yeah.
The Jaguar was not quite British Racing Green, there was it?
No,
Too
because-
heavy?
It was a
No,
little
because
bit too emerald.
the British Racing Green paint was too heavy.
Yeah.
So they had to lighten it.
They got
literally.
even lighter
I
in Monaco,
think-
didn't
I
they? They
think
lost
with-
a whole diamond.
I think with modern technologies, they might have found ways around this by now.
Yeah.
Don't forget the 90s were a much simpler time. We used to have to
Yeah.
send these shows out on tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you used to record them on C90 cassettes.
Yeah.
TDK D90s, please.
TDK D90s.
The album copier's choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has all come about because Daddy Stroll has now bought a quarter of Aston Martin
For £186 million.
I was going to say it's about $200 million.
Something like that.
So that's
he's-
around about what Nicholas Latifi's dad put into McLaren, but for a tenth of McLaren.
Yeah. Wow, that's a hell of a valuation. But the interesting thing is that money that Lawrence Stroll, and he said Lance then, the money that Lawrence Stroll has put into Aston Martin as a car company means that he is now the chairman of the board. So it's his decision to make sure that Aston Martin, the company that he's just become chairman and main stakeholder in, sponsors the Formula One team that he also part owns as part of the consortium that saved the team formerly known as Force India. And I for one am glad that they're changing their name, because Racing Point is a fucking awful name.
It really is terrible. That's why we still call it Force India, which, to be honest, wasn't a great name either.
No,
but
terrible
it's preferable.
Can we just go back to calling it Jordan? It was a lot easier that way.
Yeah. But I mean, it'll be nice to have that name on the grid. I hope it comes with maybe some extra sponsorship because of the name. You know,
Yeah.
'cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
brands will want
realistically-
to be associated with that brand.
Well, you see what that team does with the money it gets. You know, it is that team where you think another few $100 million and you might be able to push forward.
Well, they managed 4th place, didn't they, when they
Yeah.
were fairly well looked after
Did
financially.
they reckon they need another $500 million in budget?
Well, the thing is, as Sean was saying then, brands will probably more likely want to be associated with Aston Martin than Racing Point or, Force India, for example.
Particularly because it coincides with the hypercar as
Yeah.
well in WEC. So if you can get some kind of branding deal where you're on both, that becomes very exciting, probably
Absolutely.
from a sponsoring point
And
of view.
I can't imagine BWT having the budget to do the WEC hypercar sponsorship.
Possibly not. They'll find somewhere, I think.
We'll find out, won't we, if
Yeah.
in the new Bond film...
2021, Pink Williams, you heard it here first.
Yeah, but if Daniel Craig walks up to the bar and orders a sparkling BWT...
Magnesiumed, not stirred.
Yeah.
I've learned to not be surprised by the amount of money drinks manufacturers
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, I mean, in the last Bond film, Bond was drinking lager. Wrong.
Oh, no.
Was he?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Do what you want.
Just fuck off.
Yeah,
James Bond.
Heineken apparently did a massive sponsorship deal, and Bond switched from...
And did he not say no thanks, I'm still spying?
If you drink,
Oh, that would have been good.
yes.
That would have been great.
if you drink,
missed a
never
trick.
Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've
Yes,
missed
I
it.
like that. Yes.
But yeah, like we all say, it'll be good to see that name on the grid. It's what they'll be able to do with it. I mean, Racing Point seem to be careful at looking after the budget that they've got, and it's just a question of what is behind the wheel. Now, you've got theories that Daddy Stroll will be the only Stroll in the team from next year.
Yeah, I'm pinning Alonso in there.
Shocked.
Oh, for God's sake, already?
Yeah.
Drink.
only because.
Did anyone have 5 minutes on the sweepstake?
No, but he seems so certain he's coming back, and that to me would suggest that it's somewhere where you wouldn't think he'd be going, because he can't be certain now to have a drive at a top team. But I'm sure if he wanted to drive in Force India, that's a certainty for him. He could have that.
But this is after he says that he'll only come back to a winning team.
It depends what they think's going to happen next year. This is the gamble, isn't it? I think it, as far as 2021 goes, if you've got the rules getting all smashed up, if you've got a budget cap in, if there is like a big shuffle round of where the teams are going to be, just being in Formula One has more chance of you winning a race than not being in Formula One.
Yeah.
Well, you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
So it's just there's something. So I suppose with the tie-in with Aston Martin, if there's going to be some sort of considerable investment from somebody into that team,
I think it could come in some kind of engine sense. So we were talking about this before we started recording a little.
we don't know if they're going to be supplied by Mercedes.
Yeah, so Mercedes have not long done a contract extension with Williams, and they've done a deal with McLaren from 2021. So they've suddenly found themselves with an extra team. So whether or not they can or would want to be supplying 4 teams, don't know. Which means
Or would be allowed
potentially-
to.
Or would be allowed is the other issue. So potentially Force India, Racing Point, Aston Martin team.
Stroll.
I've forgotten all their other names.
I
Yeah,
think
they
they-
might be in the market for an engine.
Yeah, I think they buy an engine and rebrand it, much like
Yeah.
Red Bull rebranded the
Yeah.
Renault as Tag Heuer.
So we could see a rebadged Renault engine in the car, because Renault won't be supplying any customer teams from next year because McLaren are moving on.
mm-hmm.
So Renault will have the spare capacity. Rebadge it as a Lagonda.
would they want
Yeah,
it? Would
maybe.
they want it though?
Yeah, that is the big question with the Renault engine, isn't it?
Because
'Cause-
Renault were the, like Honda were the laughing stock of engines for a while, but Renault were the only engine manufacturer over the course of the hybrid year that really haven't improved. That engine's kind of been at the same place now since the beginning of the hybrids.
looked good in the McLaren though.
Oh no, I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, that Renault is a dog of a car as well. But I still think the Honda engine, the Ferrari engine, the Mercedes engine are fundamentally better engines than Renault now.
Yeah, it did look for a while, didn't it? Like Renault might creep up on the Mercedes and the Ferrari, and they just didn't. And now Honda have caught them, and arguably, as you say, they may have even passed them. So
I think there's an argument to be made that Honda have passed Ferrari.
Yeah, well, there are
as a
four,
power unit, it's hard to say because
there are 4 Honda-powered cars on the grid, and 3 of them had podiums last year.
Yeah.
But it's not the same for Ferrari.
no, quite right. So yeah, there are actually 6 Ferrari powered cars, isn't there? On the
And only 2 of
grid?
them.
Yeah.
So as an engine
Interesting.
supplier, Honda did do better.
Yeah.
Yep, there is
There we
that.
go.
So it's a valid argument.
But I think it will be a case of Renault will be the only team that have got the capacity to supply, unless Honda do it. But
Well, don't forget that
would Honda want their engine rebadged? Because that's a big thing about Honda. They
No.
don't like other names on their engines.
no, because if don't forget as well that the Aston Martin Red Bull Racing Honda thing, that has annoyed Aston Martin a little bit because they're like, well, you're winning with Honda engines and you've got our name attached to you.
Well, Aston were
So-
hoping the 2021 regs would let them in as an engine
And it
supplier,
hasn't,
weren't they? And it
really.
hasn't.
No, it
But
hasn't.
they still
really.
got pissed off about it.
Yeah. Now, Paul, did you say something about Ilmor earlier?
Yeah, that was the other thought for whatever the
Ilmor
engine
used to supply IndyCar engines. I think they have supplied Formula One engines in the past.
well, yeah, they were the original. They were Mercedes' version of Ford's Cosworth.
Yeah.
Because when Mercedes came back into Formula One as an engine supplier, they were all Ilmor tuned engines.
Yeah.
And Aston Martin now own Ilmor.
McLaren Mercedes was Ilmor, wasn't it? Yeah.
So we could see an Ilmor badge on a Renault engine in Aston Martin.
Perhaps, maybe. Mercedes did, I don't know if they still do, but Mercedes did own a very small part of Aston Martin as well.
At one point, I don't know if they do anymore.
Yeah, it was like 5%. It was
I thought
probably
Mercedes
negated.
was still involved with Aston Martin.
Totally negated probably by the fact that Lawrence Stroll has just pumped in 186 million.
No, but if they do still own 5%, it means that the connection's there, doesn't it?
We're now
know
all
it's
practically
still there.
looking
Yeah.
at Aston Martin ownership.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be. I don't think Mercedes can be that involved with Aston Martin. I'd be surprised
No,
if
but I
they are.
just mean like the actual business link is there. It's the board member is
Yeah.
there to speak to.
Yeah.
So it would be an internal deal rather than an external deal.
So it's an interesting one to look out for. Not for 2020 because we already know what's going to be happening with that. Really, don't think the Racing Point's going to look awfully different to last year's car. A bit of a mishmash with the blue and pink.
And I think it'll be a similar kind of performance, to be honest, as well.
Yeah.
Some races good, some not so.
Well, I think any team in that situation, Renault, Racing Point, McLaren to a certain extent, they would be foolish to put too many eggs in this basket. I'm not saying that these teams need to go to Australia already writing the season off, but not far off it.
Well, McLaren have already admitted they're deep into
Yeah.
work on their 2021 car. Not to sacrifice 2020, but they are already deep into their 2021 development.
Well, McLaren, because they've been on the ascension again, they have to be targeting podiums and wins for 21.
For this year, they have to be targeting
Oh,
podiums.
I for this year podiums, yeah, not wins, but I mean as far as 2021 goes, a team like McLaren, they must see that as an opportunity to get back up the front of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. But don't forget, it can also fall the other way, much like Racing Point, Force India, whatever you want to call them now, Aston Martin, where they were there and they were almost on the cusp of podiums. And if you remember, Perez got a couple of podiums,
Yeah.
but now they've just fallen right back.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
they're not.
Haas at the beginning
They're
of
not
every
McLaren.
season. No.
They haven't got the facilities.
Haas at the beginning of every season look like they might get a podium. They're always almost there in Australia, and then the season goes on and they lose the development race.
Who knows what the fuck Haas are?
Yeah.
Team IKEA.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I did see that Romain Grosjean put on
Flat pack and it's completely full of glueless kits.
yeah. It's like they're like fucking Formula One's equivalent of Express on covers.
Yeah, if I did see that Romain Grosjean put on Instagram that he was having a seat fitting at Dallara.
Okay.
Also, Dallara are making the seats now.
I don't know if they're making
Well, I
the seats.
I suppose the seat's got to
It's got to
be
fit.
incorporated
car.
within the
Yeah.
chassis, hasn't it?
Yeah. So maybe that's why they do the seat fittings, just to make sure it fits in the car.
Right, I mean, totally bizarre reference, but bear with me on this one. We were watching the NFL Network coverage before the Super Bowl yesterday, and there was an advert that came on for a company in the States that you can book someone to come and build your flat pack furniture for you. And I
missed
instantly
that
thought, a has using them.
Yeah,
But yeah, there are companies where you can get in touch with them and they will build your IKEA furniture.
yeah. We call them joiners. Yeah.
As of 4:30 p.m. this afternoon, Daimler AG has a 4.18% stake in Aston Martin.
What a strange amount.
That's after obviously Lawrence Stroll has pumped
Yeah.
in all that money.
Yeah.
So and Daimler or Daimler, however you want to pronounce it, depending on where you are in the world.
I think they'll have Merc engines.
Yeah, they obviously Daimler own Mercedes.
Yeah, no, but I think Force Austin will still have Merc engines come 21.
It just depends on how the rules are being interpreted, because Mercedes are of the opinion that they can supply themselves and 3 customer teams, whereas the FIA possibly think it just means 3 teams because you have a separate engine unit, and therefore the Mercedes F1 team is a customer of Mercedes engines.
But don't forget, I think that rule's there more to stop a car being left without an engine than force somebody into having something they don't want.
Well, yeah, because I mean the current rules are that they can force the engine suppliers into supplying a team,
Yeah.
because if there's a car without an engine, the FIA can mandate the company that's supplying the least
Yeah,
number of teams to supply an engine to them.
I think it would be a particularly strange move for a sport to take if a team says we can have Mercedes engines and they're willing to supply us, and then the governing body to go, no, you need you need the less good engine because there's less of them on the grid. It's all about diversity in engine worlds.
Yeah, but this is the FIA, who are notoriously good at shooting themselves in the bollocks.
Oh yeah,
Well, there is
yeah.
that. That's true.
They were aiming for the foot.
But it was a terrible ricochet.
That's what happens when you shoot yourself on a rubber mat.
Mm.
Talking of shooting yourself in the foot, looks like Alonso won't be driving an Andretti car with a Honda engine in this year's Indy 500.
No, Honda have the top brass at Honda looks like
Yeah.
have vetoed American Honda Performance from giving him the car with the Honda engine.
They should have just sent one message out saying, GP2 driver.
Yeah.
GP2
But he had
driver.
a Honda engine last time, didn't he?
Nope.
Or was it Chevy?
No, it was a Chevy.
No, when he was...
It was a Honda.
It was a Honda 2 years ago, but
broke.
yeah.
It was a Chevy. He couldn't qualify.
Yeah, it was a Chevy
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time. But don't forget, he was still a McLaren Honda driver the first time.
Oh, of course he was, yeah, because he left Formula One, didn't he?
Yeah, when Jenson Button peed in his seat.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, though. It's not like Fernando Alonso was out of order for his GP2 comment.
No, and for Honda to turn around and go, GP2 driver, that's a lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the time, Honda was a GP2 engine.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Alonso said that in Suzuka and then went and drove for Toyota, won a couple of world championships, and then did Dakar in a Toyota.
Given
Only 4 weeks ago.
I think it's more to do with Toyota than
3
it is to
weeks
do with
ago.
GP2 engine.
I imagine that's what will have pissed them off.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
he's gone and done stuff with them.
And won.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, realistically, you're... Oh, well, yeah, because he was in Toyota for WEC, wasn't
He
he?
was.
2
Yeah.
world championships.
Yeah, yeah.
Did he get 2? I thought
I think he
just
got
one.
2.
No, he only got 1 world championship, but 2 Le Mans, because it was the super season with two
Oh, was it?
Le Mans 24
Okay,
hours in it.
I
but-
suppose, did he technically have a stake in one of the championships because he left halfway through the season?
No?
He left after he missed, I think, the last couple of rounds, didn't he? But he left after they'd done enough to get the
Yeah.
world championship.
No,
Right,
the last WEC season was the super season
Le Mans
with
with Le Mans.
a year and a half with 2 Le Mans in it.
Yeah.
He did the whole season.
He did the
Oh, fair enough.
whole 18 months, because he did both Le Mans victories that were in the 2018-2019
Did
season.
that? I don't think that car won the second one. I think they finished second, but won their world title there, and he looked really pissed off about it. But I could be wrong.
Talk amongst
Let's
yourselves.
consult
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
Excuse me for
I
throwing
think
spanners
I
into the
think
works.
Toyota were so far ahead, and all of a sudden the number 8 car, which was not Alonso's car, had issues and had to slow down before the end of the.
I think the number
little
8
Le
car was the Alonso car.
Was it number
I think
7
so.
car?
Number
May have
7
started
car.
slowing down then.
That was, I think, the first year. The second year, I have a vague recollection of Alonso having a face of thunder while holding a cup of really beige-looking coffee.
Lando
Some
didn't
kind
make
of
that
shit
one, did
that
he?
sticks
No.
in your mind.
No. we all remember Lando, the coffee guy, don't we? Before he was a McLaren
Yes.
driver.
Was that when he
Yeah.
had a spoon on a drill?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great way
Very
to do
same.
it. I'm into that.
I think it's a real shame for IndyCar though.
No, the number 8 did win.
My apologies.
The
Don't know why he was so pissed
Kazuki
off then.
Nakajima.
Yeah.
there's no doubt in the Alonso effect on IndyCar, especially that first year he was in it. You know that.
Oh, of course.
The hype for that was
Yeah.
crazy, and then to just walk in and be competitive as well.
This is why I think. I mean, the article in Racer was saying there's not a lot of teams left with Chevy engines and available cars, but they've failed to mention Penske, which would
Who
make
now
sense.
own IndyCar?
Penske now
And
own
the Indy
circuit, the series,
Yeah,
and a team with Chevy engines.
And I think the Indianapolis Media Company or some bollocks like that, which has all the.
If anyone
streaming
can
rights.
find an independent car to put Fernando Alonso in the Indy 500, it'll be Penske.
Yeah. So I reckon we will see him in it, but it'll be in a Penske Chevy.
that's
Or-
capable of winning, isn't it?
Or
Penskes have always been
Penske's
capable of
a
winning.
handy,
Yeah.
U-turn in a McLaren.
McLaren put a third car in.
That's not a
Oh.
stupid guess.
Yeah.
They're not Honda, are they? Are they Honda?
No.
No,
I
they
don't
should.
know.
Arrow Schmidt Peterson,
Something else.
McLaren, or Team Spam, as somebody's been calling them.
Yeah.
Team Spam.
Schmidt Peterson, Arrow
yeah,
McLaren.
No, they are. I'm sure they are Chevrolet because what's his face, the Canadian one, James Hinchcliffe had some kind of big post about how he'd have to split from Honda, and then they fired him for posting a nude photo of himself on the internet. So.
Isn't Marcus Ericsson part of that
Marcus
team?
Ericsson is part of that
At
team,
the
I believe.
moment.
Because he tweeted a photo not that long ago of a car in entirely husky chocolate livery,
Yes.
which go for it, do it.
Do the husky chocolate or the
Well,
livery? or-
technically it's a red and white McLaren.
yeah.
Yeah. Arrow Schmidt Peterson, Sport, McLaren, whatever. Chevy engines, 2 confirmed drivers, Patricio Award and Oliver Askew, with another entry to be confirmed
Oh,
for
Ericsson.
round 6, which is the
Has
500.
Ericsson gone somewhere else now?
Ericsson is at Chip Ganassi
That's
Racing.
the one. I knew he'd gone
okay.
somewhere
So,
good.
so they do have another car for 500,
Yeah.
right?
So
Well,
it's Fernando Alonso. Alonso will
makes
be straight
sense.
on the phone and sat around like, I know I left, but
I'll come back if Bob Fernley doesn't.
yeah.
And I'll
like,
bring my
listen.
hats with me.
listen, lads, I could have cars off you for the rest of my life, and you still won't make up for the mess of the end of my Formula One career. So let's just consider that you
Surprised I
still
got
owe
far
me
enough
one.
to do those donuts in Abu Dhabi if I'm perfectly honest.
I mean, fair play to McLaren. They've screwed up the end at the moment of 2 of Alonso's careers, his Formula One career and his Indy career.
Yes,
So far,
yeah.
yes. Yeah. Although
Yeah.
that's just typical Alonso, isn't it?
Little
This
bit.
looks good. Alonso steps in. Ah, no, maybe not.
It's fucked. I mean, but to the point where they forget to get a steering wheel.
Yeah.
You know that's bad for Alonso. Look,
Yeah.
And don't forget the wet paint.
he did wet paint.
They couldn't qualify in one of the cars because the paint hadn't dried. And then they forgot which gearbox to put in, so they put the wrong one in.
Good.
Ridiculous.
And this is why Bob Fernley's out of a job.
Yeah, not
I'm sorry,
ideal,
I'm
is it?
fairly sure he's quite happy retired in Yorkshire.
After all that, wouldn't you be?
Probably.
Yeah.
I do hope Alonso gets himself on the grid though, because I like watching Indy 500 when he's in it. I like having somebody to support.
But you've got Ericsson.
I like having someone to support.
Max Chilton?
I like having someone to
Does
support.
does he still do ovals? I thought he'd
No, I think
lost
he-
out
No,
of
he,
ovals.
um,
now.
He's still doing the last one.
I think he said about 3/4 of the way through last season that he wasn't going to do any more ovals.
So he only does the road courses now.
Yeah.
What's the point? You're like, if you're not going to do all, if you can't technically win a championship, what's the point in doing it?
There is there are 2 secondary championships because there's an oval championship and a road course
Oh, is
championship
that? Oh,
as
right,
well.
okay.
Yeah. There's an overall champion and then specialists.
It's like WWE.
To be
too
fair,
many
I
belts.
don't think the hypothetical
European
drivers'
champion. Yeah.
championship for
Intercontinental
Max
champion.
Chilton is really on his radar. I
No.
don't think he's threatening, is he?
No, I mean, they also do participation awards.
Yes.
Sorry, Patricio awards.
Yeah.
Boo. What else we got?
Well, I was going to say, talking of Indy, NASCAR, bizarrely, running a race on the road course there this year, so they're going to make them turn left and right
Shit.
and go clockwise.
Oh my god, the amount of accidents.
Oh, the
This
humanity.
might be worth a watch.
This is going to be the best thing that happened to NASCAR since Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, they announced last week that they're going to race clockwise on the Indy road course. And
Is that the F1 way round?
that's the F1 way
Right.
round.
Yeah.
So they're going to be taking the banking the wrong way round that they used to. How many of them are going to try and do handbrake turns and go the right way for them?
That's going to mess with some people. Do you remember on the old Formula 1 games where you could like have the mirrored circuit?
Yeah.
It was totally
Yeah.
messed with your head. Completely. It's going to be the what?
Yeah, Eau Rouge suddenly became, oh fuck, there's a massive turn and I'm coming downhill.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
appears to be almost what they're going to do with the French Grand Prix this year.
Mirrored circuits would mess you up on the PlayStation, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Like Adelaide backwards, Suzuka backwards.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean like backwards in the wrong way round. Like the left turns were right turns and vice versa. That's what's going to happen to the NASCAR drivers. Their brains are just going to implode. sorry. Their brain is just going to implode.
It's like one collective hive cell.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the Borg, but they shag each other's sisters.
Anyway, what else have we got? Next thing on the list, Jack Aitken dropped or has parted company with Renault.
Because he spends too much time with that other company that does Formula 1 stuff.
I feel like he was out of contract anyway,
Yeah.
but has obviously not been retained.
It's a shame. I feel Formula One's escaped Jack Aitken.
Well, he does a lot of stuff with rival broadcaster. Not really rival broadcaster. WTF1. Now, I have on my phone...
They were sponsoring him.
They were.
Well, they were sponsoring him, but I have on my phone, if I can go into my Twitter messages...
Is this a world exclusive?
No, it's not a world exclusive. This was something that happened
Sources
some years
suggest.
ago. No, not sources suggest. Not even sources suggest. I can prove to you that this is real.
This makes for really good radio.
It does.
It does. 8th of June, 2016. Message from me to Jack Aitken.
Dun.
Hello, Jack. Hope all is well. Just a quick one. I'm part of an F1 podcast that started last year, 3 Legs 4 Wheels, and we're now up to a certain amount of listeners. We're looking to get some guests on the show to give our listeners a great insight from all perspectives. Would you like to share your experiences as you climb up the ladder towards F1 with us? We can arrange Skype interviews or something similar if you like, and ideally it'd be great to check in with you every couple of months, kind of like a resident young driver. Never ever got a response from Jack Aitken.
And do you know what? That was around about the time you'd have set up the interviews that we had with Lando Norris and George Russell, because there was the 3 of them.
It was a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
there was the 3 of them in F2 at the same time. 2 of them.
Two of them
that got back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things have gone all right for them.
Not saying it's because of us,
Yeah.
but it's not
Have the
because of
courtesy
us.
to reply to your DMs and you'll get into F1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just that. Respond to me and everything works out fine. Don't respond to me and, oh look, Dan's not here.
Wasn't expecting that. Dan has been damned.
He's been dispatched, should we say.
We're telling everyone he's on a mission.
Yeah, well,
He's
no,
got-
don't say that. That's a bit too obvious.
Don't get the code, is it? He's gone to kill Jack Aitken in Operation Get Jack.
No, he's on a mission in the country where he can chase round former young drivers to his pleasure.
Okay,
Prince
that sounds-
Andrew.
That came out wrong. That came out wrong. Like a sleep, bloody Super Bowl.
Anyway, moving
He,
on.
all of a sudden,
For
he's
the
got too
best,
much honour and
moving
he
on.
can't sweat.
But it's fine because he was at a Pizza Express in Woking at the time because he was going to sign a deal with McLaren.
Did you two go to a Pizza Express in Woking?
No, we went
when
to a
you were-
Weatherspoons.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just generally interested to know about this
we went
Pizza
to a
Express.
Weatherspoons.
We went to a bar.
Good.
Like men that do men stuff and nothing to do with people trafficking or Epstein. Allegedly.
Oh dear. What were we talking about?
We were
Moving
talking.
on.
We were talking about Jack Aitken. Apparently, he's still.
He's
gonna be,
moving on.
Yeah, he's moving on.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's still going to be driving for Carlin in F2 in the upcoming season.
Does this mean?
Carlin?
Do we think? Getting serious for a minute. Do we think he's
That'll be a
he's been released from Renault or has released himself from the Renault Young
I
Driver because there's a possibility of him joining a team or a Williams, for example, or
Yeah, I think
Sort of
it's
Racing
neither.
Point.
I think he was generally at the end of his deal, and they've obviously chosen
Yeah.
not to keep him on.
I did
Whether-
read somewhere like they have like 6 drivers like lined up.
They signed quite a few last year. I think they're obviously in a position at the moment with Ocon and Ricardo where they probably don't necessarily need a young driver ready to go.
Maybe.
This week.
And obviously
Yeah.
they had the situation with Hubert, who probably was
course,
the next
yeah.
in line in their academy, and obviously, sadly, is not anymore. So yeah, I'm not quite sure where they are with the pecking order in their academy, but I think
Zhou, I think, would be probably the next one in line.
yes, he's quite good actually. I quite like him.
But Jack Aitken could find himself as a
Well, he says he's going to reveal his plans soon in due course, which is usually media speak for he hasn't got any.
Formula
He
E.
is
Maybe.
currently not confirmed in F2.
Formula E. There's a likelihood for him,
Could
or he could end up being. And I don't want this to happen because, of course, we always want to see young drivers doing well. But of course, there's not room for all the young drivers to do well.
No.
It could end up being like an Oliver Rowland, Alex Lynn kind of driver, just on the cusp, almost there,
Just didn't do it, yeah.
almost, and then just doesn't.
Or he
quite.
could be the Gary Paffett and be on young driver programs until well into his 60s.
I think your man that, if he does well, is in the pound seats now is Tictum for getting into Formula One. Because a good season from George Russell, I think we'll see him in a Mercedes next year, and a hole will be left in Williams.
You're only saying that because you like his hair.
I like him, to be perfectly honest. He seems like a good dude.
They've
I want him
not
to do well.
signed him as a proper test driver though, haven't they? They've got what's his face, Roy Nissany.
Yeah.
Doing that. They've got him as some kind of token development-y role.
He is, yeah.
Roy
there's-
Yeah.
Big Bucks, yeah.
I mean, Williams have said nothing about him, and immediately after
Because
Aitken
he's paid them
started,
not to, probably.
yeah, but immediately when when Tictum started his role with Williams, they turn around and say he's absolutely one of the best drivers we've had through the door. Apparently his simulator work's been amazing.
Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, because I mean, he's spent that much time playing video games that.
9 drivers, by the way, on the Renault.
I think
young
he wins
driver.
GP2.
Okay.
Did
Did anyone see the fake Williams render that somebody put out?
I did not.
Was that one of the is it Pete Bull? Not Pete Bull. He's one of our listeners.
He's one of the listeners.
Sean
What's
Bull.
he doing? Sean
yeah,
Bull
yeah,
design.
Sean
was it
Bull
one of
designs.
his?
I think it
It
was.
looked like it.
He
was-
should just design the cars.
It was a rocket livery on a car with a bit more red than
Yeah,
last
I saw
year's.
that. It looked
Hasn't-
ace.
Hasn't Sean Bull actually done some stuff for real life Formula E?
Yeah, I think he has. He's got a job now designing something for someone
I thought he was.
I want
yeah.
to say
for an actual
Edams.
team. It might be, I have no idea, but yeah, his stuff got recognised. Put it that way.
He's
Yeah.
bloody good.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
amazing.
if you've not seen him, just look up Sean Bull Designs.
Yeah.
Comes up with a load of concept liveries.
Yeah, look on Twitter. He's really active on Twitter.
Just to plug that.
Mm.
On the subject of Formula E, they have postponed, not cancelled, the race in China due to coronavirus. And F1 are looking at the situation, and the strategy group are meeting this week on Wednesday
The thing
At
is,
least it's not Tuesday.
What have you got? 3 months? 3 months to what would be the
No.
Chinese Grand Prix?
2.
April
2 months.
April 21st.
Well, that's not happening because that situation is not going away.
I mean, those tyres will already be on the way there, because it's 14 weeks.
No,
isn't it? So-
no, not now. They won't.
Well, this
Turn
is
it
what I
back,
mean.
turn
Like,
it back.
some people are saying, well, Formula E race was supposed to be, when was it supposed to be? Early March.
yeah.
Yeah, Formula E race is supposed to be early March. So really, Formula 1 could leave it till mid-March. No, they can't. They really can't, because all the stuff starts going there. The sooner they make the decision, the sooner they save money for everyone, for the people who were going to go to the race, the logistics, and the people who were going to go there and start setting up.
Yeah.
If they cancel or postpone the race and just put it back towards the end of the calendar, towards the end of the year, if they can find a space for it,
I don't think F1 will be able to find another space for it.
or they just pull out of it completely this
Yeah,
year.
I think the other thing to think with that is, as far as what they do, is you've just got to think of the people that travel with Formula One.
Yeah.
You know, and these people, Formula One will simply not put at risk.
No, this is what I was trying to say in our chat group, which Sean will not have seen, unfortunately, not being part of the chat group.
I'm excluded.
Not really.
No.
Self-exclusion. But the Formula One, if it went ahead with it and one person got ill from
Yeah,
it, and it wouldn't be one person, but I mean like one person in the paddock got ill
yeah,
from
yeah.
it, then that would look really bad, like
Mhm.
really bad. But if people in the crowd, who travelled to there to watch the race, and there was an outbreak of people who visited the Chinese Grand Prix, weeks later, 20,000 people went to the Chinese Grand Prix, 8,000 of them have fallen ill. Right, that's a huge issue. Do you know what I mean? That would look so bad. It's a massive gamble when other sports are not going to China to sit there and be like, we're going to go ahead. And because we think it's
Getting
gonna
there
be
would be
fine.
the issue at the moment, because there's a lot of airlines have actually withdrawn flights to the Chinese mainland now.
For crews, it wouldn't, would it? For like pit crew, because they travel
Bernier.
with Bernier.
Yeah. But fans
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
But the
A
other
clo-
issue as well, you talk about if one person in the paddock got it, they then go and sit on a flight with all the other
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
to
and
the next
drivers,
destination,
yeah.
and
Well,
then
just as
suddenly other
teams,
people have it.
you wouldn't like all the mechanics and stuff. They've all got families and things like that, and you wouldn't. I wouldn't go. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I wouldn't.
So we could be looking at our first cancellation since 2011.
Is that when Bahrain
That's-
was cancelled?
Bahrain got cancelled because of the protest there. So yeah, because I just can't see F1 rescheduling it because of the way that the calendar is.
They have other races later in the year as well, don't they? At Shanghai, they have do they have an 8 hours, 6 hours
Yeah, there's
quantity of hours?
Yeah.
there's some hours from WEC.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing they could do, I suppose, is break their summer break rule.
can't
They wouldn't go to
imagine would
China
be
in
popular.
between, I wouldn't have thought.
I think-
Instead of having a holiday, we're going to go to the land of the coronavirus this year.
Yay!
Teams are going to be up for that, aren't they? Fucking hell.
No, they just... I think
Daddy, can we?
I think they just cancel it, in all fairness.
I can't see that happening because don't forget they've got F1 have got something like 3 paddocks that are constantly circling the globe,
Yeah.
and as soon as everything gets broken down in China, it will be going to another Asian race. So it'll probably end up Vietnam.
Probably.
So they couldn't ship it back.
So that's what I mean. Logistically, they need to make that decision now.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is why they're meeting on
Well, it's
Wednesday.
come that time, I mean, like you say, other Asia races might not be the best thing to do.
Well, hopefully it won't get to that point, and what they're doing in China will be enough, but that's for another podcast
Yeah.
that
So
discusses current affairs.
the only thing that we can do is keep that F1 can do is keep an eye on the situation, but they're gonna have, like you say, they're gonna have to decide quick, and I think we'll get an answer fairly soon after this strategy group meeting on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's probably a good bet.
And just for once, the strategy group might actually come up with a decision quickly rather than take 3 hours to decide what biscuits they're having with the tea.
It's a big decision,
Yeah.
though, that, isn't it? The biscuits.
It is. We know all about this.
We just bring them.
Yeah.
Right, that is the list of all the things that you sent us through earlier.
Anything else? Anybody's...
Not really.
Spotted you
Your
wanna
man's
talk
got a
about?
Renault job, which we didn't mention because it was last week. It was the only thing that was going to be the thing.
I was going to
But
throw Eric Boulier into the mix.
Of course, yeah.
He is now
That's-
the managing director of the French Grand Prix.
Which means we should all book tickets
an
to the French
exciting
Grand
man in
Prix.
charge of an exciting race.
just a guy that's really good at lying, so someone could turn around and say, that race was rubbish. No, it wasn't. It was really good. Do you remember how good it was?
The thing is, the catering now at the French Grand Prix is going to be amazing.
You'll
Eric
be bored,
Boulier.
but you'll be well fed.
Yeah, you will have some amazing pastries to talk about when you come back.
You will literally be fed up with the race.
Possibly. You watch now,
Yeah,
the
I-
French Grand Prix will be the best one this year. You-
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's the fix they were looking for, to be honest.
Eric Boulier.
Yeah.
No. It's like...
If Eric Boulier is the answer, what the fuck is the question?
Doesn't
Eric
Bernie
Boulier.
Eccleston own the circuit?
He does.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Bernie Eccleston owns a circuit, and for the race, for the event that's being held there for Formula One, he's put Eric Boulier.
Exactly. It's like, Eric Boulier, you might remember him from such seasons as having a Renault team that wasn't able to pay Kimi Raikkonen and being
And
part...
Honda, my God, we're on fire again.
and being part of the worst McLaren ever created.
He may have photos. I wonder if he's got photos of Bernie.
He might have photos of Max.
Maybe well, he is French. Maybe Grosjean helped him out.
It's a conspiracy, damn it. Oh God, it is as well.
Yeah.
Only other thing we've got is all the launch dates are now confirmed.
All of them.
All
of
of them.
them.
Red Bull have finally announced it. So
We've got a few on Valentine's Day, haven't we? Quite
Yeah.
a few.
starting on February the 11th, so that means there's guaranteed to be Tuesday news next week,
Woo.
is Ferrari. Wednesday the 12th is Red Bull and Renault. Thursday the 13th, McLaren. Valentine's Day, which is a Friday, AlphaTauri, when they officially announce their new name, and Mercedes doing their private launch again, and just releasing footage. Bit of a jump forward to the 17th for Racing Point and Williams. And then on the first day of testing, which starts on the 19th, Haas and Alfa are both launching the cars at Barcelona.
Interesting that Ferrari customers are waiting very late.
Yeah.
But Ferrari are the first team to launch,
Yes.
and Ferrari customers are the last teams
That
to
is
launch.
odd. Yeah.
Coincidence?
Ferrari
Probably.
Ferrari are launching the car without an engine in it because all the engines will be getting shipped to Barcelona to share the one engine between the...
Well, no. Do you remember Mark Genet, the one that you guys were at the Mercedes launch for?
Where they had like the weird.
You can hear the Ferrari engine. It is the heart of the car.
Yeah.
You could hear it behind a wall. You weren't
Yeah.
allowed to see it. You could hear it.
It was an odd occasion that.
Well, they've really fucked launches, haven't they? Where's the 90s launches gone? Like, 90s launches, early 2000s launches.
Was it McLaren that had the Spice Girls at one of theirs?
Or was it Red Bull?
No, Red Bull married a Spice Girl.
Yeah.
I always get those two mixed up.
No, I think it was, didn't they launched of the car at Vodafone headquarters with the Spice Girls.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Standard.
I enjoyed the one where they built the McLaren in that square.
Where they brought the parts in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was a good law. I mean, the only thing I would say is that somebody forgot to mention during the planning of that goes, it takes a long time to build a Formula One car. This isn't going to be a quick launch, fellas.
I remember the not a launch, but it was a live Formula One car build. I think it was the 1995 BBC Sports Personality of the Year. They built a Benetton while the show was going on and wheeled it out at the end, just in time for International Sports Personality of the Year. Guess who it was?
Let me guess. Would it have been
Mark
1995?
Genet.
Yeah. Luca Badoa.
So I think that's about it for all the sort of newsy stuff this week.
Yeah, at least we're getting something. You know, we're
Quality
getting
over
close.
quantity with the news.
We're in the same month as testing now.
Yep.
Yeah. We were spoilt the year that Rosberg retired.
Yes.
we were. There was a lot to talk about over the winter. This is why we've ended up doing 2-week breaks.
It went batshit crazy, didn't it, that year? There was so much went on in
Yeah.
the off season.
It was
Yeah.
just the chain of events, wasn't
Yeah.
it? It was like, oh shit, Rosberg's gone. What the hell else is happening now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had no dominoes this year because everybody had signed up to the contracts by...
With Pizza Hut.
Mm.
Oh, come on. That was all right.
No, it wasn't.
I'm doing my best here.
That was worthy of me, and that's saying something.
I thought it was all right.
But no, I mean, everybody had signed up just not long after the end of the season.
Yeah.
And, you know, the biggest new signing announcement was Nicholas Latifi.
Well, I think that's what's exciting this year, isn't it? Is the driver market's going to be on fire from like Australia.
Tell you what, Nicholas Latifi.
Bad choice of words.
Yes.
Nicholas Latifi's done well to already be Rookie of the Year.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling he'll come second.
Well, we shall see.
Is it about time that we shunted things?
I think so.
Right. Do you have a shunt?
I do.
Seeing
And a mouth.
as you had to nip through the living room and get the laptop just before we started recording.
Like 10 seconds before we went live.
It's like, we're about to go live. Oh, yeah, better get a total shunt
Well,
machine.
I forgot I'm using all my technology to do what we're doing.
Except for the other bits of technology that you've got there. Couldn't decide whether to bring the laptop or the iPad through. It must be hell.
It is. I said this to Martin the other day. Like, it's a proper first world problem.
No, it's
got to
not
use
even first world
you've
problems.
got to use the spare MacBook. Right.
Who sent this one in? And is this one that we've had before?
No, it's not, because this is from new friend of the show,
Oh.
Mr. Tom Horrocks. And
Hello, Tom.
and the reason I went for this, because he only sent it in the other day, and usually he would go to the back of the pack, but this guy is a fucking champion. Not only is he a McLaren fan, which fucking helps when it comes to the selection process, but he listened to our first podcast on... Where is it? Where did he say he'd listen to us? He listened to the first show back in January, the 23rd of January, I believe it was.
And he's caught up 230 something
Shit.
shows.
And
since
he has
then.
listened to every podcast.
He has binged.
What?
He's binged us in 2 weeks.
That is commitment. That is more commitment than I have. It's more than I've ever listened to.
So
That's like over 500 hours of podcasting.
I felt
That's-
it was only fair. It was like he's listened.
I don't know that there's been enough hours.
Has he had 2 going in like stereo?
Don't forget, when you're listening to podcasts, you can actually speed them up to 1.5, 1 3/4
So he's been
speed.
Well, I
listening
think
to us
he
and
said he
Chipmunks.
listened to as back as far as Spotify would let him go.
Ah,
Oh, so that's probably
That's
a
about
week.
six. That's about
No,
6.
I'm joking.
that's about 6 months.
that's
Is that?
still a
That's
big
pretty
commitment.
good.
That's a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
Christ.
I mean, Tom, if you want to go back even further, go onto the website, and they're all archived on there. You can,
Yes.
you can go. You can go
You
back.
can
to,
listen to the terrible episode 1.
which was slightly better than the unreleased, and that computer that had it on has now died pilot show. Zzz.
Both pilot shows. Good afternoon. Welcome to 3 legs, 4 wheels. Oops. I'm glad that computer's dead.
Maybe that's what killed it.
Stuck a drill through it myself.
Right, let's not forget that we went through the fucking terrible phase of doing the early podcast where we thought it was a good idea to
Lap
review
by lap.
the race lap by lap
Oh
and
no.
not team by team.
Yeah. Terrible idea. Terrible
We'd
idea.
like to thank everyone that stuck with us for a while, because at
Yeah.
some points it must have been a living hell.
Lap 17.
Evolution is
safety car.
real, motherfuckers.
I want people to get in touch either on the Twitter or on the Facebook page or by email, just to let us know what the first episode you can
Why do you
remember listening to.
Which I can answer this one in the case of Michael Cohen and Rich Walker, and they have both been around since episode 1.
Yeah,
That is commitment.
They both need committing.
I can't remember the longest to go episode I can remember is the one that
You can't remember recording the first episode.
no.
Up at your little house.
I
up the
can't
road
remember what
there.
we did, but like the one that sticks in my mind was when apparently I told a joke and somebody nearly crashed their car when they were listening to us.
Oh dear.
So that's I mean, swing and a miss, but it was close.
I remember last year Paul's vape falling over and somebody nearly crashing their truck.
Yes.
Thinking their axle had just fallen off.
This is why I'm now using a smaller, more silent vape.
Yeah,
iPod shuffle.
It's only because this thing's made of fucking dark matter. It's that heavy.
Tell you what, I'm just going to lay that flat
I
just in
think
case
that's
of any other
sensible.
issues.
Yeah.
Tom Horrocks has got us on a nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
What we
Yes.
should be doing is shunting.
Yes.
I was born.
Yes, Tom.
He gets it.
New listener, but knows what he's doing.
No, right. Not only does he get it, right? Not only is this his first time after just binging like all the episodes he could get his hands on Spotify, he's wrote the questions down right. He's given me a spaffer, and he's even split them up to 1, 2, 3. Guess.
Oh, amazing.
Oh,
4,
This
5,
is a
6.
this guy is
Yes.
a pro.
Absolutely on it.
Professional
Yes.
Tom.
Like one of them carbonets.
Proper shuntist.
I was born on the 29th of October, 1951.
That
Okay.
is precise.
That is early Formula One if we're going Formula One with this.
Yes.
I first raced at a driving school at Brands Hatch in 1970. I'm not sure that you're supposed to race at a driving school.
Controlled
could've been-
race.
yeah, could've been
they
a
do
racing-
racecraft
yeah, racing
and
school.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, in 1970,
At
so
the age of
19.
19. Coming to it late.
18 or 19, depending on when
Yeah.
that was.
I raced in Formula 4 in a Lotus 69 FF and won the Autosport magazine competition. I would like a guess.
Oh, fuck.
In 1970.
So we're looking at somebody who is or would be 68 at the moment.
When was Tom Price's accident? That was 77, wasn't it? Something like that.
About that, yeah. That could
He
be,
was a Welsh Formula One driver, wasn't he, Tom Price?
that could be a good shout.
Roughly the right age.
Yeah.
Should we go
Okay.
Tom Price
Yeah.
for a first guess?
Go that for the first one. Go that.
I raced in a Hawk chassis in the Formula Ford 2000 Championship.
Okay, because Formula Ford 60, that's way back when it was Formula Ford 1600, Formula Ford 2000. Then eventually Formula Ford did just become a 1600cc championship.
I have 2 F1 entries to my name.
Oh, so probably not Tom Price then, because he did quite a lot
I was
of
going to say he did
races.
about 2 or 3 seasons, didn't he?
2 F1 entries.
That doesn't necessarily mean they've raced if they've got 2 entries either.
that
Do you know
is
who
the-
else has 2 F1 entries?
Bernie Eccleston.
Slightly older than 68, though, is
Yeah.
Mr. Eccleston.
Well, yeah, parts of him are 68. I had my first entry was in the 1980 Belgian Grand Prix. I qualified 23rd and retired with an engine failure.
Tiffany Dell.
Ooh, I like that. Your mate.
My hat is not. He really isn't. I argue with him quite often and disagree with him on Twitter.
I'd like a guess.
Hey, it could
Yeah.
be.
Also
I mean,
supports the worst football team on the planet. Anyway, carry on.
well, Southampton
Yeah.
in your eyes. I would have said Scarborough, but
Of course.
I want to guess. Are you going with Tiff?
Tiffany Dell, yeah.
I reckon he's been listening very carefully, and he's heard you go on about your disagreements.
I don't
with,
know if that goes back so far on Spotify. That
Maybe he has
possibly even
seen it
predates.
on-
I
He's seen
can't
it
remember
firsthand.
a Tiff Nadell like bashing contest for a while.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't,
worst bonus round ever.
he's a great car reviewer, but he's wrong about motorsport.
Yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah.
My second and final F1 race was in 1980 at Monaco, where I failed to qualify.
Okay.
Just like what Bernie did.
I don't think Bernie even got in the car at Monaco.
Oh no, he had an entry, but yeah, I think he withdrew before qualifying.
I think he
didn't
practiced at Silverstone, but that was it. Because Bernie's 2 entries were in 58, I think, Monaco and Silverstone, and he, failed to qualify both because I don't think he even got in the car at one of the Grand Prix.
And got out and said, I should buy this
So
instead.
is that when we need to guess, or are we post guess?
No, post guess. You've got another couple of clues yet.
Okay.
My first appearance in the 24 Hours of Le Mans was in 1981, where I drove a Hesketh.
I wouldn't know, to be honest with you.
I didn't know that Hesketh did sports cars.
I'm not that well up on. I thought Hesketh went bust.
Oh,
and had
it's
to
it's
sell
like
everything.
This is obviously like a legacy.
I just said Hesketh because I couldn't say the first word. It's LBEC Hesketh, or
So
IB.
this is someone who's bought the naming
IBEC.
rights.
Yeah. So I've no.
What year
no
was
idea.
it
Ibeck
again, sorry?
Hesketh.
1981.
1981.
Number 9, I crashed with Nigel Mansell at the 1993 TOCA shootout race at Donington Park. I remember that.
I don't know. That was just before Mansell decided he wanted to do touring cars, and then drove a Mondeo into the gravel trap at Donington. That may have been Tiffany Dell. I'm not sure.
I think you're on it.
Not sure.
I was one of many drivers suspected to be the Stig.
No,
Tiffany
he's
Dell
definitely
was
been
suspected
linked
to be
being
the Stig.
a
That was
Stig.
number 10.
Has been on
Can you
Top Gear
guess?
quite a
Well,
lot. 'Cause
yeah.
he was on old Top Gear, I think we have to call it now.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing is, I think Tiffany Dell drove an Ensign in Formula One. That's the only thing, and that's roughly the right time, isn't it? 80,
Yeah.
81.
Do we go for it or do we go for the Spaffer?
Oh no! We'll go with Tiffany Dell. We'll go all in for the full point. For
Yeah.
Tiffany Dell.
I'm Tiffany Dell.
Yay!
Chris, incredibly well done. Tom, thank you.
That was
very
very
great.
good. Yeah, great.
That was great.
The Spaffer was I became a television presenter presenting 2 different car-related TV shows.
Yeah.
Top and fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, Tom. Thank you
Thank
very
you, Tom.
much.
That was great.
That was brilliant. Right, how do you send a total shunt in?
You can tweet me at a total shunt, but send it in a DM. You can do it, or you can do the same on Instagram.
And you've got to listen to 6 months worth of shows before you send it in all at once.
That's not a prerequisite, but if you can prove that you started listening like today and then listen to them all in a short space of time, clearly gets you bumped up the list. Having your profile picture with you clad in all McLaren gear also does not hurt. Neither does Jensen Button memorabilia or Alonso memorabilia.
They can't see the Jensen Button sign picture up there, can they? From
No.
that camera.
Can they see? They might be able to see.
The cap.
Oh no, it's a bit over in the corner, just above the picture of my son. There's another signed Jensen Button picture.
So there are 2 pictures
There we
of
go.
Jensen
Conveniently, the
Button.
camera wasn't focusing on at the time.
Yeah.
Right, if you want to get in touch generally, you can email the show at 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, all at 3legs4wheels, and individually the rest of us are,
At Flood21.
At Sean Cowper.
and at Pablo100.
I'm going to pimp mine again as well because I'm enjoying the old the Twitter at the minute, and I've got 902 followers, and I
Nice.
want 1,000.
I've not
So, yeah,
long
just-
gone past the 1,000.
Have you?
It's a good line.
I
Let us
want
know as
1,000.
well when you started listening. What episode is either your your favorite memory or your what you might consider to be your first episode of listening to the podcast. You can tweet me if you want at Flood21 with that one.
Yeah, send us your best 3legs4wheels memories in, and we'll talk about a few on the next show in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Bit of a jump cut now because I'm going to do all the Formula Lee stuff separately tomorrow. Well, it wouldn't be a real podcast without a jump cut, would it? And of course, Formula Lee deserves its own jump cut these days. Right, first one of the winter series. It was a lap of Suzuka on the short track in the 2019 Prima F2 car. Had 21 entries, so that means that somebody has missed out on the points for the first one. The top 20 is, in 20th we have Chris CPM K9, 19th Stephen Perkin, 18th was Nick Patakis, I was 17th, Scott Spiegel in 16th, 15th was Chris Shales, 14th Ian Walker, 13th Adam Smith, 12th was Ruben Hernandez, 11th was Pete Bull. Top 10, we have Alberto Roldan in 10th place, Vaicha Camping in 9th, Kyle Armstrong in 8th, Ed Forsyth not in 21st, who actually came 7th this time, Dan Lyons in 6th, Callum Graham 5th, and Marcel Streak in 4th. Right, top 3. With a time of 40.853 in 3rd was Max Williams, with 40.544 in 2nd was Carl Toomey, and winning this week with a time of 40.496 was Santerio Nasty. So congratulations to everyone that made the top 20, and commiserations to Robo87, who was the one who missed out and finished 21st. Better luck next time. Right, next challenge. It's going to be a lap of the Bahrain short track, and the car for this one is the 1992 Williams, the FW14B, and it's going to be another dry race. And you have until Monday the 17th of February, 7 o'clock UK time, 2 o'clock Eastern, to get those into us. Right, best of luck.
Shocking.
Listen to all those confused faces.
Listen to the faces.
Yeah, listen to all those
Listen.
confused faces screwing up as you release this podcast on a Thursday morning.
Yeah, I should be able to work out what the timetable is for future shows. We will be back in 2 weeks' time.
And then probably regularly, won't it? We're
We're
going
going to go.
Much on
Going to
it,
go
then.
every week after testing starts.
Yeah.
Preview, review. I mean, if you're new to the show, sort of 2020, we do a preview for each race, and then we review each race. We usually start at the back of the grid and work forwards. It's
Back to back weeks, they do tend to get a little bit.
preview,
Crowded.
preview and review.
Yeah. And of course, we've got the extra show as well that we do on Patreon every week. That gets streamed on YouTube as well. We send a private link out.
And if you are new, you may guess we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Not in the bloody slightest.
Really?
So please don't take us too seriously.
So you can get the extra show by donating anything from $1 a month. And if you go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, you can sign up there. And just want to thank all the new patrons that have joined us since the turn of the year, because there's been a fair few.
Thank you very much for because you keep us
Keep us in business.
Running.
keep us in check.
All
You
the
keep
wires
us
and
running.
all the cables, the fact
Yeah.
that anybody who's watching us on the YouTube stream can see us. That's one of the reasons
Yeah.
why. And if you do the YouTube stream, you don't even have to wait for the podcast to come out. You can actually see us doing it.
Bloody hell, we've got 3 new YouTube subscribers while I've been recording the show tonight.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
They are keen.
Are we going to do a YouTube?
We're going to do
We'll
the
do a
usual
little
YouTube
bit,
Q&A.
yeah.
So, audio
So-
listeners, thank you for listening. We'll be back in a fortnight.
and even more reason to come and see us on YouTube every
Yeah.
week.
Exactly. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Take care.
Laters.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.